Despite the ongoing fighting, US and Israeli officials have said that a Qatari-mediated deal to free some hostages held in Gaza was edging closer. My colleague Kate Fisher is in Washington, D.C. She gives us more on this and other stories making headlines around the world. Kate, news of some relief coming there of the premature babies being evacuated into Egypt.
That's right. As the Israeli-Hamas conflict enters day 45, Israeli tanks were seen stationed near the Indonesian hospital in North Gaza on Monday, although there was no immediate comments from the military about the situation inside the hospital. The Israeli military claims that they are targeting, quote, terror infrastructure in Gaza, and they accuse Hamas of fighting behind human shields, including in hospitals. The Indonesian hospital was set up in 2016 and has nearly ceased operations, but it's still sheltering patients, staff and displaced residents. Despite the ongoing fighting, US and Israeli officials say that a Qatari-mediated deal to free some hostages held in Gaza and pause fighting was edging closer. A group of prematurely born babies who were evacuated from Gaza's largest hospital have crossed into Egypt for medical treatment. The newborns had been admitted to a hospital in Rafah in southern Gaza on Sunday in order to stabilize their condition ahead of their transfer to Egypt. Well, DD India's Sarah Coates sent us this report from Tel Aviv in Israel.
Well, Egyptian authorities say that 29 premature babies who were evacuated yesterday from Al-Shifa Hospital in the northern part of the Gaza Strip have now arrived in Egypt. Originally, 31 premature babies were evacuated, although at this hour it is unclear why only 29 have arrived in Egypt. Now, this as heavy fighting continues reportedly around the Indonesian hospital, which is also in the northern part of the Gaza Strip. Pictures coming out from the ground show tanks very, very close to that hospital, while people working inside say that they've had gunshots fired at the hospital. Meanwhile, hostage negotiations are reportedly continuing. Qatar's Prime Minister says that only very minor details need to be agreed, while Israel's ambassador to the United States says that he is hopeful that a deal will be reached in the next few days. Now, it is expected that around 50 women and children would be released from the Gaza Strip, with people, ladies and also children to be released from Israeli prisons, around 150 of those people reportedly, in exchange for a 3 to 5 day ceasefire and also more humanitarian aid, including fuel, into the Gaza Strip. Now, this is very crucial at this time. I'm sure you can see behind me just how wild the weather is, and that is exactly the same case down in the Gaza Strip, where many people literally have nowhere to shelter, just a thin piece of tarpaulin potentially over their heads. Sarah Coates reporting from Tel Aviv for DD India.
Rockets from the direction of Lebanon have struck Israel on Monday. Plumes of smoke were seen rising from northern parts of the country. The violence is being seen as a spillover from Israel's war against Hamas in Gaza. Hezbollah's attacked Israeli troops at the Lebanese border since the war began on October the 7th, and Israel has launched air and artillery strikes against southern Lebanon. A delegation of ministers from Arab and Muslim countries held a meeting with Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi in Beijing, and they demanded an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. The delegation included ministers from Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Egypt, Indonesia, Palestinian-occupied territories, and the Organization of Islamic Cooperation. Beijing was the first leg of the tour of the delegation, which is scheduled to meet officials representing each of the 5 permanent members of the UN Security Council. Meanwhile, Israel has said that Yemen's Houthis have seized a British-owned and Japanese-operated cargo ship in the southern Red Sea. Israel claimed the incident was an Iranian act of terrorism with consequences for international maritime security. Iran, however, has denied any involvement in the ship's seizure by Yemen's Houthis.